not good music
like,
either, yeah.
Yeah. So
I would say that watching what you're doing with Doge is just, people love it. I mean, I've always looked at the government, and I've always looked at the government, and I've seen this big machine and you just know that they waste because they don't care. Nobody can, there's more money coming, they don't care.
Yeah.
You're cutting all this out. Everybody in this country knows that the government is full of waste, fraud, and abuse. And you're doing the work, and the Americans love it. Watching their reaction politically to this, I can't believe how bad they are at responding to this. I don't know how you're gonna sit there and scream and complain because they're cutting waste out of the government and try to win another election. How do you try to win on that?
Well, at this point, I'm not sure how much of the left is even real.
Yeah.
You know.
How much was propped up by our money? You know.
Yeah. Like literally, you see like these sort of fake rallies where there's like hardly any people, and the media will like frame it and like get all 6 people, in the frame, but there's like nobody else is there. Like just it doesn't have popular support. But then you learn that like there's hundreds of billions of dollars going to these so-called NGOs. And it's your tax dollars that are funding things that are fundamentally anti-American.
And they're propping up their narrative.
Yes.
A lot of that government money has been propping up a left that I don't think is as strong as they made it seem.
In fact, a massive amount of your tax dollars is going to legacy media companies.
Yes.
Directly from the government.
The government wants to take over media.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. That's why we have X.
Yeah, and
that's why you spent $44 billion. I mean, that's a lot of money.
I mean,
more than it was probably worth. But there was a message.
Freedom is priceless.
Priceless. Yeah. Probably one of the most important investments this country's ever seen. If you got to protect the First Amendment, it's not much more important than that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, well, that proves he's a huge idiot from look, he bought it for whatever, $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents. And
it's not worth 8 cents.
But it was essentially to buy freedom of expression,
Once that's gone, it's all over. It's all over.
Yeah,
descent into tyranny is really quick after that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's all the sort of federal money going to media companies is what helps explain why the legacy media all says the same thing at the same time. Like, doesn't it, like, it's like weird, like you can put them up where it's like, like when
they're mouthpieces for
the state.
For the state.
Yes.
And that's what we've come to know.
Yeah.
It's scary.
And I like that meme where they're, because they're always saying like threat to our democracy, but if you just replace democracy with bureaucracy, it makes a lot of sense.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Big threats to the bureaucracy.
That's exactly right. Let's talk about these Doge dividend checks that everybody's talking about this week. And I know you tweeted out that you're gonna. Does everybody want like a $5,000 check in the mail? It sounds kind of good, right? And the best part about it would be knowing where it came from. That's $5,000 that you sent them last year.
Totally. It's money that's taken away from things that are destructive to the country. And from organizations that hate you to you. That's awesome.
Does it seem, I mean, have you talked to
I mean, that's like glorious. That's like
it's the best.
The spoils of battle,
Spoils of battle. I like that. Is there traction on that?
Yeah. So,
I
talked to the president, he's supportive of that. And so it sounds like, that's something we're going to do.
Yep.
So as we're finding savings, that's going to translate directly to reductions in tax. So.
Yeah, I think they fired 6,000 people at the IRS today. And I think Lutnick said last night that they're talking about shutting down the IRS. And I think it's fair. I think people should realize this is, I mean, the amount of money that we send Washington like $5 or $6 trillion a year. That is such an ungodly amount of money. I mean, what do they? They say like 1 trillion seconds is like 30 years or something like that. I mean, that's how much we send them, and they seem to never have enough. There must be a lot you can cut.
No, absolutely. People ask me, what's the most surprising thing that you've encountered when you go to D.C., when you're in D.C.? And I said, well, the most surprising thing is the scale of the expenditures and actually how easy it is to, when you add caring and competence where it was absent before, you can actually save billions of dollars, sometimes in an hour.
Yeah.
Like it's wild.
And then they scoff at it and say, oh, a few billion here, there. I mean, the way they're talking about it, you can see they don't care. It's such little money compared to how much they're used to wasting. That's what's really scary.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. But obviously, it just shows that they really lack empathy for the average taxpayer who's working hard, paying taxes, and then they say, oh, $1 million doesn't matter. I'm like, I think it matters a lot to people, you know?
I mean, yeah,
So what are you talking about?
I'd like to have it. Let me ask you a question. I know the president fairly well, watched him survive 2 assassination attempts. Had the first one not happened, the second one would have gotten him. You know, it was very, because without those extra guys, they would have never seen that gun poking through the fence at the golf course. I saw the crew that you
Isn't it like mind-blowing that this has happened? I mean, it just, and what, by the way, why do we still know nothing about that guy in Butler? What's going on?
He's
Cash is going to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way,
Confirmed just a couple hours ago, but I saw that the security detail that you had come in is enormous.
Well, it's not that enormous. Maybe it should be bigger. I don't know.
I think you could probably afford it. But I mean, how concerned are you about your safety? Dealing, I mean, you are a wanted man. Are you nervous?
So, look, I'm open to ideas for improving security. I have to tell you, I don't actually have a death wish. I think. But you know, it's not that easy. Yeah. I mean, but I have I've had even people like President Bukele from El Salvador who managed to put in prison I don't know 100,000 murderous thugs. And he was like, he called me. He's like, I'm worried about your security. I'm like, you're worried about my security? I'm like, what? Okay. That's you know.
I mean, talk about guts to do that down there. I mean,
yeah, totally.
And survive.
I was like, how did you put all those thugs in prison without dying? Because it seems like that would have been not easy, you know.
Well, the president has one of his top attorneys is now investigating, I guess, Chuck Schumer for threats against SCOTUS, a congressman on the Democrat side for saying, basically saying we're going to bring a war to you, like a fight to you. I mean, the rhetoric, you guys are screwing with things that are not supposed to be messed with. And
we're fighting the Matrix.
There's a lot of people that really don't want that to happen.
Yeah, we're fighting the Matrix big time here. But it's got to be done.
It certainly does. What's going on with? Tell us about Fort Knox. There's Kentucky. It's a military base. It's a ton of gold, tons and tons and tons of gold.
5,000 tons of gold, or
5,000 tons
take,
of gold
you know?
are there in the ground and this. I mean, it's a very secure
I think
thing.
we all want to see it.
I'd love to see it.
This is your gold, by the way. It's the public's gold.
Do you think it's not there?
I don't know. But I think
you just want to see it.
Yeah, we want to go see it and just make sure somebody didn't spray paint some lead or something, you know?
Yeah.
Is this real gold? Fight at the bar, you know?
Didn't dent.
But I think honestly, part of this also is let's have some fun and like I said, all this gold at Fort Knox, it's the public's gold. It's your gold. So I think you have a right to see it.
You want to take a tour?
You know. Yeah, I think we should have do a tour. And then the president last night was like, I think he's in favor of it. That would be cool. And then it should be like a live tour. You can see what's going on. Open the door. What's behind it?
Well, and there's
I think I'd watch that.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, what does 5,000 tons of gold look
totally.
like?
What does
How
it
big
look
is
like?
that? Is it the size of this?
It's got to be pretty
stage?
big,
I mean,
you know.
It's got to be a lot of
Maybe
gold.
there's some other stuff in there. Just walk around. I don't know. Maybe they got some other stuff in there.
Are you thinking about auditing the Federal Reserve as well, which is obviously
yeah, sure.
Regulates our economy. I imagine you think the waste has got to be everywhere.
Yeah, no, waste is pretty much everywhere. People ask, how can you find waste in D.C.? I'm like, look, it's like being in a room, and this target, the wall, the roofs, and the floor are all targets. So it's like you're gonna close your eyes and go shoot in any direction, because you can't miss, you know. So it's pretty wild. Like you just push on things a little bit, and you save billions of dollars. Just a little bit, you know. It's wild.
It's scary, isn't it?
That's why I say it really is underrated. If you add caring and competence, how much things improve. And we just find so many totally crazy things, which we're sharing with the public. We post everything we learn. So you can see it. You know.
What do you?
It's like, isn't it like it's totally wild? We just did a check the database on Social Security. Says how many alive Americans eligible for Social Security are there? And according to the database, it's over 400 million. And we're like, wait a second,
And how many are getting?
How old
many
are they
getting the
again?
money? Yeah.
And then like we found like one person in there is like 360 years
360.
old. I'm like, what, do they know Ben
More than 100
Franklin or
years before the
something?
revolution.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, America didn't exist before at that time. Like, so.
Yeah, we were colonies.
You know, maybe it's just me, but I think it's a red flag. I don't know.
But are there indications that that there were checks going to those people or any of those people?
Well, yeah.
That's, I guess, the question, right? I mean, I get the Social Security Administration is dumb, but are they paying these people? Are they that dumb?
A bunch of money is going out from the Social Security Administration, and in fact, from all entitlements programs.
$72 billion in waste in like 7 years. That's $10 billion a year.
Well, I think the
Fraudulent payments.
the rough estimate from Government Accountability Office is over $500 billion of fraud a year. $500 billion.
And how long of a time?
Per year.
Per year on Social Security?
No, on all
On all government.
on all entitlements.
All entitlements.
All
Okay,
entitlements, yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of actually makes sense when you look at the thing from a top level and say, like, okay, the $7 trillion of spending by the government, what percentage do you think is fraudulent? Okay, exactly. Like a conservative estimate of the $7 trillion would be 10%. Conservative.
Probably a little higher than that, yeah.
Exactly.
Feels like a quarter out of every dollar, right?
But if the fraud's only 10% of $7 trillion, you've got $700 billion of fraud. And by the way, it's like really easy to take advantage of the federal government. It's very easy. So,
Very easy. Look at COVID.
yes.
Everybody got rich during COVID. I mean, look at all these scammers. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It looks like, in terms of the COVID payments, there was something like $200 billion of COVID payment fraud taken by fraudsters out of the country.
Out of the country, yeah.
That's like I think, listen, if there's going to be fraud, it should at least be domestic.
Yeah.
So, you know. But they managed to get $200 billion out of the